All right, that should do it. Let's see if it works. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. All right, there we go. Let's see if it works. Oops, it's gonna be a little echo right there. Sorry about that, y'all. All right, so got my laptop set over here so I can make sure that things are flowing correctly. We're gonna get into the main events today. Going over some butterfly building. Going over, you know what? I can put it in the chat. So I'm gonna put that up real quick. Give me a second. Actually, I can just go grab it off here. Oh man, it's looking choppy. I hate when this happens. Why does this happen? I think I remember. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's see. I think I need to go the other way, actually. All right, we'll see if that changes anything. I think it should significantly make it better. Okay, hopefully it gets less choppy. Instagram. All right, so there is a mailing list I have, right? And I think right now I have like 85 people on it or something. But what's going to happen is with that mailing list, I am going to, the people who are on there, I think we'll go up to 100 people. Yeah, let's do that. So we got 15 spots left, right? And those first 100, in there I have a core kind of skills stroke, one for fly, back, breast, and one for free. And there is one skill and drill per each stroke, the freestyle one. We're kind of going to touch on a little bit, or the importance of it, there we go, and why it relates to sprint freestyle in a big way. And then there's a fly one. What I'll do for the first 100 people, right? So if you're in there already, good work. Here's the mailing list link. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I guess you have to copy and paste it. Oh, it's still choppy. Why does it do that? Okay, let's try quitting Safari. I bet that'll do it. And quitting this. All right, I think that's gonna make a big difference. All right, so the last 15 spots, what'll happen is, so there's an option for the fly content in there, right? And with the fly content, I'll include, it's kind of what we're gonna go over, how the stuff in there was made to solve all these like checklists of things I realized when I was breaking down film when I was in college. What I learned under David, especially teaching myself early breathing, that pull breathing timing, and then putting it in butterfly to make the stroke more functional. Okay, let me do this. Screen mirroring, go. And then we'll be good to rock. All right, there we go. Okay. Batman. All right. Sorry, guys. As we know, live streaming isn't my forte. I'm learning, though. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's talk about this butterfly, right? So we're going to look at some film and kind of just go over the observations that I was noticing that paved the way for what I realized I needed my athletes to be able to do. Oh man, it's so choppy. Jesus Christ, it's bad. I gotta figure this out, guys. So this may be a stream where Dax gets his shit together also. I need to go darker. Let's see if that cleans it up. I think that'll make it better. Okay. So yeah, let's get into this. So with the fly comp, yeah, I think that did work a lot. Let's see. Ooh. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so hopefully this helps a lot, guys. Well, you know, we'll find out. So the fly videos, right? We're gonna kind of go through the checklist of observations that I noticed while breaking down fly film. All right, so first thing we're going to be looking at is some big dog Phelps. All right, so I'm breaking down film, right? Let's see, it looks like it's still smooth. You know, put in the chat if it's not. So I'm looking at Phelps on video, right? And this is what I noticed. One, the arms are in line, right? Hips, hand, body line. So there's, for a fraction of a second, we'll call it a vector, right? For those of you who aren't math heads like moi. If you have a slope, right, in math, that's nothing but X value plus Y value. Right, and usually if they're even, you end up with this, right? As it curves, your X values become bigger than the intersecting Y value, right? So we have a vector of flatness in Phelps's fly, okay? Or in alignment. So whether that's when he's like this, that line is this way. All right. Next thing I notice is this is kind of the position he's trying to get into. Butt, hands at the surface, chest pressed, head significantly, or the hand significantly further back than the head, right? So if we drew it, this is what good butterfly body positioning looks like. All right. So I knew I needed that. Now, when we look at it from sky view, what we see is this same line, right? We don't see the bottom up, so we have that same or relatively same line. And what we see is as we go frame by frame, those hands kind of stay dry. And we'll see this again later. So we pretty much have like a pinky or something right there. We have the bottom coming up. So the bottom we start seeing is what lowers the hands down. Right, bottom comes up, hands go in the water. You know, we can zoom. Why am I tripping? Right, bottom goes up, hands in. All right, we also see what, at least what we think to look like a straight line, right? The fingertips moving and look almost right above the surface of the water. Okay, but we also know clearly hips to hand, it's going upwards. All right, so we know that for this to be going straight forwards, if it's traveling upwards here, the arms, to make it look like it's going forwards, something has to be going, or we have to have the opposite direction to zero it out at every step. Okay? So for this to look like it's going forward as he's reaching up, that means that the arms need to be going downwards, or the body, the entire body, right? So if we think about the shoulder, If that bottom's going up, head and the shoulder by, association have to be going down. Okay? So the fact that this is going only forwards right here means that he's already going down because this arm is going the opposite direction. Okay? So we know that to have a forward recovery from the back of the stroke, you immediately need to be on your way getting your butt up at the same time the hands are traveling upwards, not after. Okay, because butt up means shoulders are going down. So your butt needs to be going up at the same time the shoulders or the recovery is going above and behind the head. Okay, if you do that, the sinking of the shoulders, right, if the hand stayed here, everything going down would go down as the butt goes up. Okay, but the hands are traveling away from the body going down, so that's where we get that straight line recovery. And then we get to the end point, which is behind the head. We get to the end point, which is arms reaching upwards, head down. And then we see the butt sink the hands. So when we have soft hands and fly, it's not stopping per se before the hands hit the air. All right. But although in the content I have, we do set it up like that because there's like another little more advanced hack that's not included. What's in the online fly build out is solely for like establishing the overall template, right? If you think about a foundation and then we add the power and the propulsion and let's just say power and propulsion, right? To the stroke, it doesn't disrupt these efficiency components and foundational components. But anyway, back to this, right? We're getting the bottom up while reaching up, and that allows us to get into this butt, chest, to where at the same time we have the butt up, the chest down, and the hands at the surface. Now, this is very important because if your swimmers are entering, and this is, I guess let's take a step back. This is important because this part shows us that the hands are going opposite, right? You cannot have this right here unless the hands are going the opposite direction, okay? So while he is going down, those hands are traveling this way, which we're gonna go into the next thing, which is the YJ arms thing. So the hands are going up, allowing his chest to go down, boom, right? So we got to think about this image when you're telling your kids, we're gonna get a little crucial right now. When you're telling your kids to put their hands, palms down next to their head, this shoulder width entry is this, okay? And a lot of times when you're telling your kids, oh man, I'm gonna have to erase this. We'll go into that next. When you're telling your kids to enter with their hands next to their head, palms down, you are not getting this beautiful body positioning. Remove the wrong one. Or we can guarantee they're still gonna go surface to surface, get the full, I mean, if you really wanna get with it, extra pull length, but relative to their body, but relative to the surface to surface pull, okay? What your athlete is going to do is something a lot more like this, where their hands are gonna enter next to their head, they're gonna chop down even with their body line, and now they've missed a nice good quarter to third of their pull. Okay? Then we go into how the hands have to slide out because the hand swimmer entered narrow. So it's just like entering next to the head is just insult to injury, right? Anyway, the hands got to slide out, and now he's strong. So even more of the pull is gone. So this is all your athlete is working with because of these bad mechanics. Palm down next to the head, waiting till their hands hit the water before they kick their butt up. All right, now remember, he has to slide those hands out so he can finally get his chest down. Because we see that, watch, we won't see his chest bow out until, boom. Now he can press his chest. So this whole next to the head thing is majorly inefficient. Your kid's losing pull, strength, 50-50 fly. We'll get into that. They're losing pull distance. We'll call it the catch because ideally that's in the ideal stroke, that's where the catch is. They're losing that distance. They're losing a large portion of their pull because now on top of that, when their body changes direction finally, relative to that body, that hand is still down there. Okay, you got to think about that. Relative to their new body line, they're about halfway through their pull relative to their body line. Okay, so like this, like that hand next to the head thing is a disaster when you're not kicking your bottom up fast enough. What's up? Oh, you know, Aaron, let's see, you're my second live commenter. So shout out to you. Put your name in the mailing list that's right there. Put your name in it with your email so I can know it's you, and I'll make sure you get an additional bonus along with who was the other person who called me first? Owen, big O dog. Okay, anyway, so there's that. Let's move on to the next thing. So the YJ pull, okay? Now, the Y is important because you can't press, like I said in this video, right? With the kid we just took a look at. Let's look at him from the front. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. You can't press that chest through until these hands go wide. Okay, here we have finally the chest coming down to press through. Oh, I gotta slow down because this thing is so slow. Okay, so here we finally have the chest pressing down so those arms can go through. Or so the arms going out so the chest can press through. Okay? So it's very important on top of that, that when you're teaching fly to the athletes, that you are not having them swim to reach forward. All right, if you think about a lot of this, you got to put in the context of the human animal, okay? The human animal is land-based. So when you reach forward, how often do you reach forward like this? What about like this? It's always like this. So when you teach your athletes to reach forward, their human animal mechanic takes over, which is palm down, elbow down, chopping in front of my face, okay? And we also see this chopping down in front of the face. Let's go back to this video, right? Let's look in the air, right? Oh man, I don't know if I can go back far enough. This one should work. Right there. Head is down, body doesn't care because we're human animals, and the human animal dictates to reach in front of the body line. And that's why as soon as he puts his head down, like you can even see it from above in the air, that when his bottom goes up, that his hands are pointing down to the bottom of the pool, right? So this reaching forward, palms down thing in a way psychologically and based on how the human animal is designed to operate, it's a disaster. Almost dropped the F-bomb right there. You know, put some emphasis on it. You know what? This is my channel. It's a fucking disaster, okay? Yikes. All right. So we get into this YJ pull, which is pretty common, right? So we know the Y thing. Let's talk about the Phelps. This is why this is important, okay? Going wide out here to this T shape at first is what allows the chest to press through, okay? The chest cannot go through like this. Your hands have to get out of the way and get out here to like a T for me to push my chest down. So when we are swimming fly, when you teach your athletes to reach forward, you are closing the chest, inevitably, especially swimmers, and we're all like this anyway. It's just, ugh. You know what I mean? You know what? Let's jump back out. So when we're swimming fly recovery, instead of trying to get them to reach forward when their eyes are, especially as they're breathing, they're going to think reach here. We want to go, let's see how this is going to, okay, it looks like it's going well. You know what? I think I may have just figured this out. I'll try it at the end of the stream. Let's see what happens. Anyway, so instead of reaching forwards, right, we want to instead teach them to reach outwards, right, reaching up, but reaching out to the side, because that is how they're going to make sure that their arms keep going upwards as they press their chest through, which allows them to get their bottom up at the same time, right? So not reaching forward, reaching above and back behind the head so they can press the chest through earlier, okay? And that's why you'll see with this Phelps recovery, we're going wide, okay? Because right here, he's pressing his chest through already to get his bottom up. Okay, so we want to get out here to this T shape. So now, as the chest pressed through, if you imagine a piece of paper folding, and now those hands look like they're coming together because he's swung wide, and as the chest goes through, there's nothing, the shoulders aren't in the way, those hands can keep coming in together. And that's how we end up with what a lot of coaches are telling their athletes, palm down next to the head. No. He's going outwards and pressing the chest through, getting that bottom up. So as the hands keep coming through, the back folds almost and the shoulders fold almost like a piece of paper. So that when those hands are still traveling up as his chest is going down, the bottom, right, he gets to the peak of his range of motion, and then we have what looks like just stopping the hands before they hit the water so you can have soft hands. No, he's reached his max flexibility, and now his bottom sinks those hands into the water. Right, we see that chest press. Right, chest is going down at around the T shape. Right there, that's probably his T. Bottom comes up, hands come in. Boom. Okay, so off rip, I know that, okay, hold on, we're supposed to be talking about the J and Y thing. So no, that was the Y, the recovery. The Y recovery is going wide here so that when you press the chest through, those hands, the back gets out the way and those hands, the momentum can bring them together behind your head. So there's your Y thing. Now, we also have the J thing, which says like at the end of your pull, you should be sliding the hands out like a J, right? Now, correct, right? But as I'm trying to teach this to like little kids, telling them to imagine their body making a Y with their arms and then pulling into a J, I tried it in like a mass teaching scenario, like 20 kids, 20, 25 kids. Was not working, right? So we gotta start thinking about, okay, so what makes a J? Okay, so we're going to now pull up some whiteboard action. Okay, and this is where one of the skills in there, which is the backhanded recovery, which is just teaching your athlete to do arm circles correctly. Okay, when we think about a circle, right, you can have a straight line going like this. Right, a line just traveling back and forth, right? Back and forth, right? Now, as the line moves, right, that is how it aligns itself. At this point, it's here. At this point, it's here, 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 here. And then as it goes back the other way, boom, 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 boom. Okay? So with this recovery, from the side, to get this, we're going to have to do some math with circles, okay, with an arm circle. So if you think about an athlete, their hand out to the side like this, we started teaching them to do arm circles like this for their fly recovery. All right, and when we look at it, if you think about the shoulders, right? If this is the swimmer in the middle. Okay, so they pull, right? Now, as they go back through the circle, right? If the arms are out here, right? If they're making a big circle, it's gonna go forwards to make that circle, right? And then as they come backwards, it's gonna go up. Okay, now when we look at it from this angle, once they get down by the hips and they go out to the side to bring it up, that change of direction from the bottom of the circle to go back up looks like a J. Okay, so all we had them do with these arm circles is, one, they no longer had to think about trying to make their hands do a J, which then disrupt their ability to focus on doing a nice recovery that needed to be a Y. Like this drill I found solved this Y. Oh man, what just happened? Okay, there we go. It solved the YJ problem. Like, boom, they could all do it. I got beautiful fly recoveries. We'll go into some video examples of that if we have time. But I got beautiful fly recoveries, like amazing. Everybody was nailing it. Okay. And then we get into the straight line thing, right? Since it's a circle, right? We think about the arm. As the arm is next to here, as it goes through the recovery out wide, we get that same circular motion. Okay, so that's how we were able to get that J. We were able to get out here to that T shape. This is kind of messy, huh? Oh, I guess I don't like that one. We were able to get out here to that T shape where the chest could push through. And then just because they were doing a circle out to the side, right, we told them never to come in narrow, but a wider circle as they could out to the side, we automatically got them into that Y shape. And then when they went down underneath the front of the circle, the hands went into that pull space, right? So we solved a bunch of our Y skill, our Y recovery, our J pull, and getting into a place where we could press the chest through with this one skill. And it is in the fly course area. Okay, let's see. We're gonna go over these 6 skills. I'll write them down for you. So right now we have and then I guess to make sure that we always entered with clean elbows, there's some math to it that I'll write up later. We just made sure that the athlete turned that thumb all the way back, so that way the elbow joint was on top and we were able to get clean recoveries every time. Okay. So as a skill, you know what, I'll just write down. So this skill Although I'm thinking about changing it to some type of like shoulder roll, but backhand recovery, right? And that is in the fly area as a course. Okay, so we know that we need to get the butt up, the chest pressed, and the hands at the surface at the exact same time. Those three things have to happen at the same time. And that the recovery needs to happen in a way that allows the arms to get to that T shape where the chest press can be free, right? Check, check. Or at least check on the recovery, right? And we talked about the narrow palms down is bad, right? It's actually behind the head in that Y shape. Okay, then we get into propulsion, right? So propulsion is power created from the kick, right? The quads. That was an easy one, knee bend kick. We have the pull. I'm a firm believer of the butterfly this is not a belief. Butterfly is symmetrical freestyle, and in the modern butterfly, we're very big on pulling in a straight line. So I'm a firm believer in fly, pulling a straight line. From the top, straight to the hips. Now, the whole hourglass thing, it's a myth. It just looks like it when you're seeing that because the elbows are going into a catch. We'll draw it up. Let's just draw it up so that way you guys can know to stop doing this hourglass thing. Garbage. Okay, so if I'm gonna have to make this bigger real quick. Swap that out. Okay, so if I'm doing fly, right? And I pull, we're gonna go, I gotta use my other hand. Gotta be left-handed for a second. If I pull in a straight line like this, right? You can see how that is a straight line, okay? So my upper arm to elbow is in a straight line. Okay, now, put it out here. My upper arm to an elbow is going in a straight line. I can make an hourglass by still pulling in a straight line if all that happens is I enter in this Y shape, I bend my elbow so my hand comes in. Okay, so we're gonna kind of try and draw this. I'm gonna reload this hand, right? So I enter in this Y shape. Right, so we have my body, my head, hand is up here in this Y, right? When I just go to catch inwards, my hand is now gone this way. Okay, let's get rid of the body real quick. Okay, so we have my head. I'm in this Y shape. I go to catch, my hand is now gone inwards. Okay, now from this catch point, if I pull in a straight line, right? And then we talked about the arm circle thing. So let's just say, and this is kind of like a more advanced, that's why I don't teach the high elbow catch thing at first. We just put the pieces in place first, the body positioning, but we're just gonna dispel this S thing. Right, so I'm now pulling in a straight line with my high elbow catch, and then at the end, I just lock my elbow. So now my hand has gone from inwards to outwards. Boom. And then I'm into my arm circle. There's your J. It's not the hands going all over the place like this. It's a catch, a pull, and then you lock the elbow. And it just looks like 2 hourglasses. But it is a straight line pull. Pull in a straight line. Jesus. I mean, you can imagine the type of disaster that is for a little kid having to do all this stuff and then go here. And that's why, like with the arm circle thing, it's a beautiful drill. Because if they're just trying to make a big arm circle out to the side, when they come around the front of that circle, the arm has to go in front to make that front side of that circle. And then to get it out to the side, back to the T, the hand has to travel out to make that circle. So that is the brilliance of Rakely right there. Make it easy. One drill. One drill, multiple solutions. Like I said, like when I'm in my my story talking trash, on these live streams talking trash, one drill, multiple solutions. Press your chest through because now your hands are in the T. You got your hourglass because you're going from wide into the bottom of that circle, which means you got to understand how straight lines. Oh man, it just jumped. Gotta relax. Computer just was like, you're going Super Saiyan on me, Dax. Chill. Okay, there we go. How a straight line is also a circle. I suffered so you didn't have to, guys. Okay. Okay, so we have the pull, the quad muscles, which is the, when you join the mailing list, there's that free drill you can download, which is the kick the head, kick the butt up, which also helps with the chest press and the butt up happening at the same time while also addressing your propulsion from your knee bend kick, right? We're gonna get to the psychological piece and importance of that drill also. So just off those two skills, I've had a lot of kids who were like the more, I wouldn't say natural flyers, but maybe I'd say natural flyers, and then kids who know how to move their body. You take those two skills, you're gonna have some kids accidentally swimming butterfly. You combine them. Like, happens every time. And the kids are like geeked out because they're like, oh. Like, I'll ask the kid, like, hey, does it feel like you're reaching forwards? And I've done some clinics with Fitter Faster and done this drill, right, with the arm circle thing, flutter kick. You know, it's all in there. It's all in there. Like, I got you. It's all in there. You know, it's just, what is it, $67? For everything you need and every drill reinforcing everything else that you're doing, like, the congruency, like there's no point where you're teaching your kids something and they're like, but you said don't do that when I do this other thing. Like everything, the congruency of it, the congruency. Anyway, we were doing the arm circle thing, right? With fins and flutter kicking. Beautiful fly recoveries, right? But when I ask the kids, right? And it's always a beautiful thing too, because sometimes like some of the kids who maybe aren't as fast will get it right. Actually, that happens a lot. So then you get to like lift up the kids who maybe aren't as fast because they're killing it with the skill. I remember there's this one tall kid, Matthew, at shout out to ASC, and he was nailing the drill, right? And he's probably the slowest. I think he was one of the slowest kids in the group, right? But he's nailing it. And I was like, what? Like, he's doing it right? But yeah, he's like, the kid was nailing it. And then we did this, we coupled it with another skill, which is more advanced too, that allows you to train fly. And I think he was able to go for like 10 or 7 minutes continuous fly, like no injury, just like, because like once you get what makes fly easy, you can just go. Like, you could drag your arms through the water, keep moving forward. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, anyway, like I said, we're really, really outside with it. The back hyper, right? So getting the butt up, lifting the legs, shoots you forwards. And then no bubbles on the hands. Once again, you're reaching upwards against the crashing, which the arm circle thing also works in that regard. Because when the athlete is going down, that arm circle is going up. Boom, we outside. Telling you, man. Like when I seek to dominate, that's how you do it. Like it can't be this like, it has to be faster than everybody else too, right? The domination can't just be like things that work. It's I'm getting things done faster than you too. Not only am I doing it the right way, but I'm getting things done in a day that are taking you a month. So imagine how much further ahead I'm gonna be with my kids when you finally catch up, right? And we've been doing 4 things at once instead of 1 thing at once like you have. Like it's inevitable, you know? What does Thanos say? I'm inevitable. I'm inevitable. All right, drag. This is, I think, other than getting out of this, no, I'm not even gonna say that. This is to me is why I think Phelps and why this other guy, Milok, have dominated, right? And I said this in my email that the people on the mailing list got. Is Phelps swims a very flat butterfly. And we see this when he breathes eyes forwards. He ain't looking down. Okay? And here's the thing about looking down, right? If you look down, your mouth is in the water. And any person who is an athlete who's had a coach tell them look down when you swim fly, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you like the first time you do it, you almost drown yourself trying to take a breath. And what happens is you gotta like lift through your neck and your back to make sure that you have space to breathe. Give yourself some extra space right there. And what that does is it pulls those hips down. So now to breathe and still look down, you gotta be like this. And you got a ton of drag on your body. Whereas, and I have it like in the course, right? The drill is designed to address a psychological issue that we'll get to soon, is you just roll that neck so you can breathe. Low drag. Low drag. I want to say none. So you're in this, which is called when you get vertical, right? When Phelps gets vertical, he is in a very, very flat, nice body line where you can either roll off him easily or most of the drag is missing him, right? And then he spends very little time there because as soon as he takes that, he comes up, right? We know that as soon as his hands leave, he's putting that head down in the water, right? Hands exit, face is coming down. And for that straight line to be happening back here, that means his body's already going down as he's reaching up. So he spends very little time in this vertical position. And when he is in this vertical position, it's low drag, it's low resistance. So this pull, he's getting 100% of his pull because his body isn't vertical like this, creating extra propulsion to just fight against more water. Right? So because he's flat, now, even if it was a terrible pull, which maybe it might be because we all know that Phelps runs down people. His first 50 is, you know, he's obviously an athlete, very strong. You don't get that fast without being strong, but it does say that there's something going on with his first 50 speed. Whatever, that's besides the point. Anyway, whatever a kid's pull, whether it's a crappy pull or a great pull, because it's low drag, they're getting 100% of whatever that pull does. Right? And then we know he spends very little time vertical, where the knees and the butt are under the head, because as soon as the hands leave, right, to have that straight line, his chest has to be going down, his butt has to be going up, right? His body has to be sinking because the butt's going up while he's reaching upwards. So on top of staying very flat, he spends very little time vertical, and he's getting back down so he can get that butt up and get downhill. Right, so very, very low drag. So this is another thing we needed to address. Get your fly low drag. Stay flat, get back downhill as quick as possible. Then we have the bottom coming up, feet coming up. We call this a back hyper. Maybe y'all call it wherever you're at. I'm gonna say back. What we call it at UT. We have those legs coming up. Now it's just like a dive line, shooting forwards. So there's some more propulsion. So we have the pull, we have reducing drag to further optimize propulsion. We have the quads creating a knee bend kick. And then we have being able to get the feet up after the butt comes up to shoot the athlete forward, which then chains right into the next kick. Knee bend. Snaps the kick, head up, snaps the kick, butt up, right? And once again, go get or join the mailing list. I think there's 15 spots left for the people who will get the additional underwater dolphin kick action with when they get the it'll come with the butterfly content, right? For free. All right. And then negative propulsion. So this is part where we start getting into this and the psychological aspect of the butterfly. Okay. The biggest issue that I have with the butterfly people I work with is breathing late. Okay. You know what? We're going to go with a kid who's a total baller, but she breathes late. Okay. When did she swim? I think it would have been. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. iPad. Give me a second, y'all. This is a kid who's probably going to be 30 point low or 29 in her fly. But could be faster. Should definitely be 30 point. But could easily be faster just through this breathing timing issue. Okay. Oh, I'm shifting over to the iPad, the video. So when the pull is done correctly, for butterfly, the athlete's going to naturally have that lift, right? And then they're going to start sinking. Now, when the head is, what? Oh, okay, I know what just happened. When the head is in the air with this, what happens is the athlete gets heavier. Now, I talked about the vector thing in the beginning. When those arms are in the air with the head, that is a lot of weight, right? And a lot of times you'll see these butterflies like lift their elbows and like shoot their hands forward quickly. It's because their arms are in the air with their head, so they have less time to get their arms around, or they're going to drag them through the water. Because there's that psychologically, that's what they're realizing at a subconscious level. They're not pulling all the way back. So they're losing pull. They're inevitably going to reach forward. Disaster. Their head and arms are in the air, so they're sinking, creating more drag. And they're going to end up creating negative propulsion because as they fatigue and they're taking less and less propulsion, and they're going to start taking longer breaths to try and survive because they're little kids, you know. Those arms are going to start dragging through the water. Their palms are going to be down, which means that elbow is going to drop. So around this breathing issue, you have everything bad that can happen in butterfly. Okay? So we need to fix the breathing situation, right? And here we have like a super good butterflyer. This is going to be kind of really far away, guys. Deal with it. Oh man, I'm going to have to cut that out. All right, so, man, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to cut that out. Dang it. Doing so well. Oh, actually, I don't think you can see anything. Could you? Hold on. Damage control. Sweet. Okay, never mind. You just see one name. I'll figure it out. All right. So what we're going to see is, right, because even though she understands what to do, she spent so long breathing and having those arms in the air, or that when she breathes, she still thinks subconsciously, I don't have enough time. So we see the elbows pull up early. instead of finishing all the way through the stroke so she can have a long breath, she still has that programming of, I don't have enough time to breathe when I swim fly, so I need to get my arms up early. So she's losing pull, even though she's swimming very flat and can pull all the way back. Right? She's lifting through the elbows, and then here's the body position we're trying to avoid. And it's just really weird. Like, the human body ain't designed to go from behind your back and up. Little kids can get away with that, a little bit more flexibility, but injury waiting to happen. Right now, very good butterfly. But, oh man, it's got the sound and everything. Very good butterfly. But, you know, for the regular athlete, that's going to be a huge issue, right? All right. So this breathing situation, like I said, in the email, if you get in that mailing list, I'll make sure I send it out to you. But it has the skill, it's called the lay flat skill, which solves that. Oh, there it goes again. I'm starting to see how this thing starts messing up. Okay, there it goes. So which teaches you the specific timing, right? We want to pull at the top of the stroke, get the head down when the hands get to the back, then we bring the recovery around, right? If you do those things in the right order, smooths out a lot of your fly issues, okay? And now, with the lay flat skill, because the athletes were able to get this full long breath and keep their head up because of their pull, the athletes were able to see how easy it was to breathe, right? So a lot of the fear around butterfly comes from panic swimming. Like, that's it, panic swimming and panic breathing. I don't have enough time to take a breath, so I need to how do I say this? I'm not going to have enough time to recover, so I need to get my arms out the water and quickly get them in front. And because of that, I'm sinking, and I can't get a long breath, or I can't catch my breath, which you think to a little kid, right? I mean, think about yourself when you get a shortness of breath, or if you have asthma or something, right? It's a little bit of panic attack. Put a little kid on that, right? And then you have the knee bend kick drill, which is the free one that you'll get when you join the mailing list. So the athlete knows that they can, without their arms, get their head up and breathe, right? And then they see that with their arms, that it's very easy to breathe. So you have the two components that make up your butterfly, and they'll realize that they can do those two things and have a clean recovery, right? They can do those two things, and it's super easy, but when they put them together, all of a sudden it's hard. And you can convince the kid very easily and be telling the truth to them. It doesn't make any sense that it would be hard then, if these two things are very easy, right? And then you just convince them, right? In the with the fly drill, I have how to deliver simple solution or complex solutions simply, right? And how you use that to shift an athlete's performance to a higher level. Look, you know you can do this. You know you can do the two things that are make up fly. Does it scare you when you do those? No. Do you think you can go for a long time and do that? Yeah. Then we just got to put them together. But it's the same thing, right? And that's how easy it is. You just need to do this, do this. Can you do both of those? They're easy? Yeah. Then it doesn't make any sense that when we put them together and now it's difficult. It's still the same thing. Same exact pattern, right? And the kid can believe that because you've shown them that they can do that. Like, I can do this, but no, I can't do it, even though they just told you they could. So the psychological part of that flag, once they understand they can do it, it becomes not something that is fear, stay away from, but something that's, I just need to practice and get better at. And in the course, once again, I said it's $67, and it has all this stuff. That was an hour to explain that. You don't have an hour to talk to your kids about this, right? So it's 6 skills, and there are accompanying drills and progressions that go through all of this, so you don't have to convince it, because they don't know how to swim when you're teaching them, right? They don't know what they don't know. So to them, this will be, this is how you do the stroke. This is how I swim. Not I need to do it this different way, right? And it has a very clear way to make it easy for them to get better. And then it's just how hard they want to push it. which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, so we are next going to look at, make sure I don't delete something I need. Fly, 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 boom, boom. Freestyle errors. And straight arm freestyle. Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm about to get on my sound box for this. Stop doing straight arm freestyle. You don't know what you're doing. You know what? Stop doing straight arm freestyle. Okay? Goodness. It's like giving a kid a rocket launcher and expecting him not to blow stuff up. Good Lord. All right, now let's talk about it. Straight arm free, right? One, it's butterfly. And we're going to see that with these videos from Big G Bruno Fratis, which means that recovery should be low to the surface of the water out wide, not a spinning of the arm behind the back. All right, now let's talk about what coaches think is going on, right? When you tell your kid to straight arm, at least at the club level and under, right? They're seeing straight arm as this solution to swimming with more power because of what straight arm accidentally makes the kid do with their core and with their pull, width or narrowness, however you want to see it. But they're attributing it to the straight arm. So they're using a symptom to diagnose the problem, which is the solution, right? The problem, which is the straight arm, right? They're saying the straight arm does this. No, the straight arm is just about getting the full length of the stroke immediately, okay? What goes on with the core is its own thing. Now, that accidentally happens when you have a kid reaching this far behind their back where the shoulder is not designed to move. It naturally does a lot of the things that the athlete is supposed to be doing. And you say, Dax, how do I know this? Because David Marsh taught me. Duh. Come on now. Okay? I didn't know this stuff. Believe you me, look, I was 38th in the world, NCAA champion, 2 free. We'll talk about the disaster of that stroke some other time. Jesus Christ, I was a terrible swimmer. But when David was trying to teach me a lot of these things, I was a terrible communicator, and it's crazy. Like, I didn't know it was okay to say, I don't get it. I'm trying and I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I remember there was this one day with this distance swimmer, and he's a mile open water guy, Alex Martin. I think he swam at Harvard. And I was like trying, like in practice, like during the middle of the workout, like I was thinking about trying to like do a straight arm recovery. And I realized that what David was trying to make me do, when I did that, like at the time I didn't realize like why it worked or how it worked or that it was actually working. But I realized that I was able to hold on to the water with my pulling arm when I straight armed my right arm. My left arm was catching a ton of water. I was like, oh, that's weird, right? So that's how I know, having lived it, and that's another interesting thing. I really wonder sometimes when people say do this, how many times they've actually experimented with stuff. Like everything I tell y'all, I'm self-taught for a lot of the stuff. Okay, like as far as technique stuff, like put your hand here, move your hand this way, self-taught. David basically took everything that I did. I said this in another clip. I think it's not going viral. But it was like I had all these tools, but I didn't know how to use them. Like I think in the analogy I said I was like trying to eat soup with a fork, right? And he was like, no, don't use the fork. Like this is how you hold the fork, but you don't use it with soup. You use a spoon with soup, and this is how you hold the spoon. So David like showed me the stuff he told me. It was like, okay, like what Pearsall told me about the backstroke pull isn't wrong, but here's how I use what Pearsall told me about the backstroke pull. You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's what's going on with sliders. Excuse me, guys. It's like, why is it so dark in here? Make sure y'all can see my handsome face. There we go. All right, that's a lot better. Yeah, I know this like thing is annoying, but that's the only way I can get the video to record and not get so choppy all the time. So we got to all deal with it. My bad, guys. But anyway, that was kind of the first time I realized, like, okay, that's why people are going with the straight arm thing, even though it causes a disaster on the back end. So let's talk about it. All right, so this is what we're going to look on. First with the straight arm freestyle. The disaster that is straight arm freestyle. Okay, so usually, right, one, there's something you need to realize about your, oh, hold on, we're getting a little choppy. All right, there we go. So with your age group swimmers, right, I guarantee you this, and they're not aware of it, because I know I wasn't aware of it, is you have one, it's usually their breathing side, or no, it's an arm correlated to how they breathe. Sometimes it's their pulling side or their breathing side arm. Sometimes it's the opposite, the non-breathing side arm. But they will key their rotations based on whichever arm it is. So let's just say for me, I think mine was my recovery arm. So my body did not roll until this arm got to the right place. And then I would roll. So this arm, my pulling arm, could have been in a suboptimal place. It didn't matter. Nothing rolled until this arm was in the correct place. And nothing rolled back until this arm was in the correct place. So effectively, I've limited something on my other side of my body. All right, now, so we have this rotation error, right? Here's the fire you're playing with telling your kids to straight arm too early. Okay, I want y'all to see this. Straight arm freestyle is giving your kid a loaded, I'm not gonna say that on Instagram. It's giving a kid a rocket launcher and expecting them not to blow shit up, okay? Look at this. Oh, I hope y'all can see this clearly. I think clear enough. All right. That is his whole lat. That's his whole side of his body, hip to shoulder. All right? He puts his hand in the water with that whole pull side shoulder to us. We see it again. His whole side is in the air when his hand is in the water. So he is not rotating until the very, very last minute. Okay? So now, let's talk about that, right? Oh, do I have it on here? Oh, I don't have a black image. I think I do. No, I don't. Do I have a pivot? I think I have it in here. Give me a second, y'all. Try to see if I have a black line tool. I don't. Okay, we'll just talk about it in the swim video. Okay, let's talk about this. So with this straight arm freestyle, I hate that I'm going over an hour, so I'm gonna try and get to this quickly. All right, if this is the shoulder joint, right, and here's the water, right, the recovery side shoulder is a little higher, okay? If your swimmer is not in control of their rotation timing, complete control, which takes a lot of work, and I know that because I had to, I know, okay, having lived it. The only time that the hand is under the elbow, that's under the shoulder, where it will enter in that chain, is when the fingertips are in the water before the shoulder rolls. Oh, wow. Wait, what? Where's my... Okay, that's weird. All right, here we go. We're back, guys. Oh, and it shrunk. That's annoying. What is going on? All right. So the only time all right, here we go. All right, this is the shoulder joint. Comes out the back of the water, comes over the top. The only time that this hand is going to be clean to enter the water is once it hits the water before the rotation happens, much like we see with Bruno. Okay? So that hand goes in. Now you can roll And as everything drops lower because the shoulder rolls, hand goes in first, elbow, shoulder. Boom. Right? Hand hits the water across the body while you're on that side, then we roll. Across all the way in the water, then we roll. Then we roll. Then we roll. Okay? So there's no rotation happening until the very last, at least, and here's the thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's wrong. Okay? But nobody can argue because this guy, you can't argue against this point. This guy has been, I think he has like the record in most sub 22 seconds, 50 freestyles. That's a lot of consistency. So maybe he's wrong, but his consistency tells us that he's probably right. Okay? So one, if your kids are doing straight arm freestyle and they're not rotating until their fingertips are almost across their body in the water, and then they're rolling, chances are they're probably rolling early, dragging that bicep from behind their body through the water into hitting the surface because they don't have control over their timing. Now, here's the next issue. While the athlete, we're looking at Nathan Adrian right here, there's this thing called, to me, I call it the power position, right? So while the athlete is on their side, without rotating, so right, we're thinking about Bruno, so that hand needs to get all the way in the water, fingertips in, and then you can roll elbow, shoulder in line. But in sprinting, right, we have a high tempo. There's no glide out front. So that hand needs to start catching while those fingertips come in, and so that we always preserve the power position. What's the power position? It's where you're using the shoulders and the hips, the rotation. I call it a twist because rotation side to side, and I just don't like side to side, don't make any sense to me. Another conversation for another time. So that when the shoulders and the hips twist, when the athlete gets to flat, the arm is pretty much around the T, so it's halfway through. This is the athlete's body line. When the hand hits and the body turns flat, this arm is pointed straight down. So now when they twist through the back of the stroke, it couples with the pull. Now there's some other details that straight arm does that makes people think that straight arm is a solution. Basically, they're pulling with their rotation. There's specific details. That's the insider trading. Sorry, guys. Not today. But now, if your swimmer is completing because they're pulling early and they have no body control, that hand's going to be all the way in the back here when they finally have their chance to roll. So basically, their rotation, which is part of the reason of the popularity around straight arm, is that you're able to use your rotation with your pull. They're going to end up with their hand. Oh, there we go. We just had a little stream energy crash. Okay, there we go. We're going to end up with the hand already at the end of the pull by the time they get to, so the rotation isn't doing anything. And you just have the kid's shoulder and lat doing all the work in the wrong way to pull the hand through the water instead of using lat to hold on to the water. Okay, so the athlete needs to be able to catch and start about a quarter to a third of their pull, while at the same time, like we saw in Bruno's video, bring that hand over the top so the fingertips enter so that when the body rotates, it can utilize about whatever is between the catch and the pull that takes the body to halfway, and still have the second half of the rotation to use with the second half of the pull. Okay, so optimal, those two things have to be together. Now, that's Nathan Adrian 100 freestyle. And here's the thing. Here's 50 freestyle. We got Cesar Cielo. All right, there we go. We see the same thing. Power position. Okay, hand hits, body goes flat. We got that same power position at flat. At flat, pretty close, same power position. This is a sprinter, 50 freestyle, world record holder. Okay, now I think he kind of has a little bent elbow action, but it remains that in sprinting, you have to have this when the body is flat. Now keep in mind, he's not gliding out front. That hand hits, he extends and he's pulling, but still getting to that power position. Okay, we see it so we've seen it in 50, we've seen it in an Olympic champion. Let's look at the 400. Oh no, this is Sun Young, right? We see the same thing. Okay, hold on. We catch on the side at halfway. He is, I think, Sun's out front, and it looks like he's in front of the halfway pull. He's using half of his pull, and he's almost doing catch-up drill, right? Nice little mile stroke, almost catch-up drill, max distance per stroke. Catches on his side, rolls after having his catch with his pull to halfway when he gets flat, which is about right there. And then he's using the rest of his rotation on the rest of his pull. Same thing on the other side. Catches on his side. When he gets to flat, boom, about halfway, uses his roll through the rest of it. Okay? Oh, what's that? But what about the 400 free? Come on. Like I said, guys, I'm outside, okay? Thorough. Of course, in the 400 free, with the legend, one person been faster than him for almost a decade. No, what, 2 decades, my bad. Same thing. Catches on his side. When he gets to flat, he's out front of it too for distance swimmer. Boom. Power position. Uses his body. Once he has the catch, uses his body for the first half of the roll and the second half of the roll. Catch. Gets the flat. Boom. First half of the roll, second half of the roll. Okay? So, across all distances, if you have your kid, you have to be able to get to the power position, which is when your body rotates to halfway or halfway through your rotation, that one hand is halfway through the pull and the other hand is flat, and then you're using your rotation for the second half. Okay, now there's a way that optimizes the pull that straight arm accidentally causes, which I will be teaching to an athlete. Actually, one of them, he just learned it the other day, but another one, whatever, that's insider trading. Anyway, if you are teaching straight arm and not going over the details of it, you are basically going to miss the entire purpose of the straight arm, or the maximization of the straight arm pull, which is entering already at full extension instead of entering with the elbow and having to extend, right? And the rotational power of the pull, because your athlete's already pulling early because he has no control over his pull recovery rotation timing. And because I'm your boy and I'm thorough, when you join the mail list and you go to that secondary page that has the core skills, the dissociation skills teaches you how to develop control over that. Okay? Because we're trying to dominate, okay? I think that one's 37. But yeah, it's like, but this is, you know what? Actually, you do straight arm freestyle, because, you know, I like going to meets, putting a clap on you and your athletes. But yeah, like that's technique. That is attention to detail. Okay, there's what you doing, attention to detail, and there's what we doing over here at Rakely.com, attention to detail. You know what I'm saying? And of course, this is why, like, it doesn't even, I mean, obviously, you know, we want to, you know, be the best. But ultimately, that's be the best version of yourself, right? Some people that's Olympic champion, some people that's Olympic trials qualifier, right? But we're going to have a much better chance of swimming faster, because even if your kid may have that Olympic level talent, if they're fighting against themselves, like, our math is better. You know, like a kung fu movie, like, your kung fu is weak, our kung fu is strong. Your math is weak, our math is strong. We're going to keep getting better. And ultimately, we want to talk about like plateau and depression and all that. It's not having a end destination. We are trying to accomplish X, Y, Z by the time you turn 15, and having a clear-cut process where they can control their ability to get to that end destination, right? If you master your knee bend kicking skill and you suck at it now, you're going to swim faster. You master your recovery timing and your chest press, butt up, hands high at the surface. You master that, you're going to get faster. Right now we train it. And that's just getting better at the skill. That's not even adding yards to it, right? It's not even adding heart rate training to it. So there's this clear path where the kid can look at it and be like, okay, I see it. Instead of just show up, work hard, hurt, and not knowing, oh, I hope this works. Or they're doing sets and they can't make it or whatever, and you don't have hey, you need to work on this skill so you can pull more water, so you can make the set. Okay, you got it down, still not working. Okay, you need to get stronger at this dryland exercise, which will increase your ability to produce more force, which will help you make the sets, right? Once again, I'm thorough. You get in the mail list, download the fly drill, but then there's a PDF that says this is how you explain complex solutions simply. Okay, I covered my bases for y'all. Well, ultimately for myself, because I use this stuff too. Put the clap on people, but now it's y'all's benefit. All right. And now, so with the first 100, right? I think I said there's 15. I don't know how many are left now, but there's 15 spots left, right? So if you get that fly build out, I'm also going to add the dolphin kick. I'm only going to give it to those people because that's the secret sauce, right? You ever seen that video of Hill Taylor? When I got to college, got his film, broke it down. The sequence is there. A lot of people bend the knees back behind their butt. We talk about how that's just pure slow, and where second step that is universal, you can skip straight to that and skip the slow part that everybody makes the mistake of doing, no matter how good of a dolphin kicker they are, except for the super elite guys like a Phelps, obviously a Hill. A lot of people you see kick out, Tom Shields does not do this. He also does it correctly. It's not a coincidence. But a lot of people you'll see at NCAA level who kick out that far definitely make the mistake. Definitely. And you can see it when you put their stuff on fast forward. You'll see them literally come to a stop. Ooh. Actually, no, I did drop that bomb earlier. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Pure advantage for us. But yeah, that fly will be added also with the first 100. I'm going to try and figure it out, but I want to do a webinar, figure out exactly what you guys need. Because I went into UT thinking, I've always thought about the sport as in LeBron James, Michael Jordan. I was a hooper, grew up a hooper. And they were all about team, right? People say I, blah, 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 right? But they took things went bad. They took responsibility for things that went good. They gave the credit to their teammates, except for LeBron. He kind of is a little, a little narcissist about it a little bit. But anyway, but he could do it all, right? So whatever the team's weakness was, that's what he did. When I was in high school, on our, I got a hard way to show it. Right? State champion relay, 200 IM. I was our butterflyer. That was my third best stroke. And I won state in the 100 breast. My time I swam in the 100 free the year before when I got second, shout out to Jimmy who won it, would have won state that year. Right? My time I went the year before would have won. And I went 43 on a relay. So, third best event, right? UT, breaststroke goes to garbage, comes around my senior year. My fly and stuff also came around, 46 after going a 200 free, so probably a 45, 100 flyer. Right? I was always trying to learn everything, right? So that I could have the skills to try and fulfill whatever weakness there was. That's just how I've looked at basketball, took that from basketball into swimming, so I learned everything and every stroke. So whatever you guys need, I want to figure it out. So yeah, get in that mailing list so y'all can tell me. I can get y'all exactly what you need so we can get out here, put the hands on these fools. Let's see, you know what? We got the stream going extra anyway. Let me just drop this last little piece. The last piece, money. So when I started this business, right? Everybody has that dream where they're doing nothing, wake up whenever you want. check your phone, $1 million in there. I do not have $1 million. You know, but that's like the dream, right? And I remember there was this one day where I realized, like, in a way I was being a bum because it was like I got into this so I wouldn't have to work. And it was like, I remember there was a day where I was like, okay, I'm actually going to have to work. Like, even like they say, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to work more hours than you would, which is true. I think I work like 120 hours a week or 120. Excuse me. But it's like, yeah, you're actually going to have to work. Okay, now, with this, I would say this is getting the athlete to do it. There's some dry land stuff that'll give them the strength to work on their body positioning. But the fly stuff, I've never had it not work. Never. Okay? Think about what I say. It's never not worked, especially with the 10 and unders. Especially with them. I'm batting 1,000. Okay? So imagine you drop, what is it, $67? Yeah. All right, you pay me $67, right? And now all your butterflies are balling. You are now irreplaceable, okay? And you can, instead of offering like time to learn how to swim butterfly, you can say, look, our program, me, you, right? I can now guarantee butterfly development, okay? If I leave, that is an advantage to whatever team don't say this, but this is like the back process, right? You have a skill that the market does not have, okay? So you can now offer the value of that result, right? And like I said, like this fly stuff has never not failed me. I've had kids figured out in one practice. Right now, a lot of the kids I work with, I see maybe once a month, twice a month, and it's not like maybe there's 2 weeks because they got swimming to their club or whatever. So that makes it kind of difficult to reinforce, but you see a kid every week, you could have them balling out butterfly by the end of the week. 3 practices in a week, that's easy work. The kids who are natural butterfliers, they pick stuff up in like 2 hours worth of session time, right? So it's just very easy if you can reinforce it. But anyway, so say, you do it, you can guarantee fly development, right? Now say you do that and you realize that, oh man, like with what I do added to this, my set, the sets I give, now you realize consistently that you're producing quad A butterflies, right? So your value now is not practice or coaching. Your value is you can guarantee fly development, okay? So you just got to figure out what that's worth, right? And it's usually worth, value is worth more than time, right? So you can use that to leverage, right, your income, right? Like, hey, pay me more because I know I can get all these kids this fast, right? And here's kind of a sad piece of this stuff too, is a lot of times you may realize that people don't value you, right? And your loyalty to whatever you're doing may not be reciprocated. You may figure out like, hey, I'm doing this at this level. I know it's worth this much, like pay me. And they may be like, no, it's not worth that much to us. Like, what? You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, well, they don't value you. It's literally they don't value you, right? So it gives you in a way, at least for me, like I need to know that before I do things. I'm a very loyal person. And, once I figure that stuff out, it's like, well, wow, like I bled for you guys and you don't care. Peace. Another way to do it, like I said, when I was like, I gotta work, one-on-ones. Like you are a instructor, right? You're a coach, you're an instructor. And even if you're a kid, right, you have this, you can take it and go run it. One of the guys I work with, I told him, I was like, yo, take this. And he's on a summer league team. He swims. And I was like, yo, like when you see kids, suffering, be like, hey, I can show you how to do what I do. Boom. Right? You have athletes. You see a kid with potential on your team who just needs more attention. Hey, I know how to coach this at a super high level. I know that with some extra time you can do this. Mom, I want to do some one-on-ones with your kids. Here's my rates, blah, 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 blah. Like, let's see, I'm going to talk about this at more extension when we do this webinar where y'all can tell me what y'all want. But, I mean, depending on your prices, let's just say you want to do 2 1-hour sessions. Actually, yeah, you can see my stuff on my website, so I'll just say what mine is, right? It's $449, I think, for two 1-hour sessions, $449, because it's a result. I'm not selling time. I know I have them as 1-hour sessions because I know that's about the time I need to make sure that my stuff sticks, right? And I do this through trial and error, charging too little, not having enough time to have things stick, so I molded it over time. But with an hour, I can get stuff to stick, right? So instead of you coming to see me for 2 hours and we have to go through 2 hours, blah, 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 you come see me for an hour. I wish I could do it for 30 minutes. Imagine how baller that would be. All I need is 30 minutes to get your kid balling outrageous. Beautiful. But anyway, yeah. So say you take on 3 kids, that's an extra $1,200 a month for your salary, right? But so I was saying, like, you gotta be willing to work a little bit. And with coaching hours, it's not too bad. Anyway, so I'm gonna get off this because that was about 20 minutes longer than I wanted. But yeah, once again, if you're not in the mailing list, get in the mailing list. There's 15 spots left when I started this live stream. The people who join the first 100s will be the only ones, and this fly course will come out, or the dolphin kick will come out significantly later. Because, all right, let me tell you all this. I know the value of the stuff in here that I teach, right? I'll tell you, right, I know there's some breaststroke stuff, right? When I got to UT, Eddie's the GOAT. Start there. Eddie wanted me to change some breaststroke stuff, and some of it I was like, that doesn't make any sense mathematically. Like, I'm not going to do that. I just said that like in the back of my head. But some other stuff he did, I was like, okay, like, yeah, that definitely makes sense. So like I combined like the stuff I knew mathematically worked, scrapped the stuff he told me that I knew didn't work, and like combined them. Beautiful thing happened. And I think in 2016 I was on a club team and I wrote out, like, I took everything that was in my head and wrote down like the end result of everything I learned on paper. And a lot of it, some of it was stuff that I know Eddie had told me not to do. Some of the stuff was stuff that David had told me not to do. And then whoever won the 2100 breasts, they were talking about the stuff that she did. And I was like, oh, I've been coaching this stuff since 2016. So that's 5 years, right? And I guess using it because I was in college 2009 to 13. So about a decade ahead of the curve. So I know this stuff works at a high level. Right now, it's, price cheap. Prices will go up. I can guarantee you that, because once more, like, I know it works. Right now, it's price low because, people are just like, oh, who's this handsome black man up here talking this hot shit? You don't know who I am, my credentials, so it's, it's whatever. I understand. But yeah, once more and more people get on, this army of 100 people, we're building an army. And the fact that people aren't going to use this information, the fact that they're going to look at me and be like, no, we're going to be running the table for a minute because, I keep track of the technique information that's out there and they're still behind. Like a lot of stuff they're still talking about, I've been through and found a better way. And then, just like the drag thing with the pull staying flat, like the math checks out, right, on everything that I do. So, once they catch up, it's probably going to take them another 10 years to get to the thing that we're going to figure out in the next year, right? So yeah, once everybody starts seeing this shit pop off, it's going to for sure go up. That's only a matter of time. Especially with the fly stuff, because I know for a fact nobody teaches that. Like that one, like, anyway. Get in the mailing list. If you're in the first 100, you're going to get the underwater dolphin stuff with the butterfly build out pre-order, butterfly development. There's also the core skills, which I talked about with the straight arm free, the errors of that disaster, and how that core drill, the dissociation, the drill is called number over number, how that drill teaches the timing errors that usually are caused in they're caused in all swimmers, but definitely caused and exacerbated by when you try and just tell your kids to straight arm it. And yeah, man, like, use this stuff. Drive your value up as a coach. Produce your results. Watch the smile on your kid's face when they see their hard work, like, yielding, like, major, not just results, major results. Enjoy being the man or the woman, whoever you are. Peace.